Hello and welcome. Some of you who have subscribed might notice that I haven't been making any videos on the channel for quite a while. That's mainly because I've been concentrating on another YouTube channel that I run that's related to my business. Now that I've got a bit more spare time, I'm getting back into some of my hobbies, and retro computers is one of those hobbies. So I thought I'd get another video done on the Dick Smith System 80. Now I'll link in the previous videos that I've done on this system in the description. You'll see in the first video that I did in the series on this computer that I basically just went through and did an assessment on the computer, took the lid off, had a wee look underneath, and a good look at the internals really. And then the second video was just basically assembling and testing the machine. What I didn't do is in that second video is I didn't test the tape deck, the built-in tape deck here. And in fact, one of the reasons I haven't done a video on this one for a little while is because when I first tested the tape deck, I thought I was testing the internal tape deck here properly, but probably should have read the manual properly first, and I assumed that because the tape deck wasn't spinning when you pushed play, that there was a problem with the power getting to the tape deck and whatnot, but not realizing that you either have to type in this, the load command for it to provide power internally to the tape deck, or you override that with the F1 key here, which provides override power to the internal tape deck. So I thought I had a fault, and then I dragged the machine out the other day, read the manual, which is pretty handy, and figured out that the tape deck was fine. You might be able to read, not sure if you can read the label I've stuck on there, because there is a fault, and that's what this video is mainly about. There is a fault with this drive. Initially it was loading, saving, verifying, doing everything that it should, and then all of a sudden I noticed that it wasn't loading any longer, and after a bit of testing I found out that it was actually wiping the tapes. So you'll see it, I've got a bunch of tapes here. So what it was doing is, as it was loading, it was erasing the tape. So not a good scenario. Luckily I don't think it's damaged any of the pre-recorded tapes that I've got, likes of this Death Maze here. But I did make some copies of tapes. It did overwrite this one, although this, the cover's original, but the tape's not original. Someone's re-recorded. This is the demonstration tape from Dick Smith for the System 80 here, hence putting the label there just to remind myself there not to use the internal drive. And you might just notice there off to the right here I've got an external cassette drive there. Just a real quick history lesson on this machine. Quite often it was referred to as a TRS-80 clone. It is pretty much that, with a few idiosyncrasies and quirks. There's a little difference in some of the commands and things like that. Also the built-in tape deck is another addition that the TRS-80 didn't have. That's the TRS-80 Model 1 that it's based on. Made by EACA, E-A-C-A in Hong Kong, early 1980s. And, Dick Smith had a relationship with EACA back in the 80s, where he basically had them rebadge this computer for Dick Smith here, designed for Australia. System 80, third generation computer system. These were very popular in the Australia and New Zealand markets, where Dick Smith had quite a big presence here. So in other countries like sort of Europe, it's known as the Video Genie PMC-80 in North America. Didn't do so well in America, I guess, because they were competing with Tandy, Radio Shack there. I've actually got another tape deck off the second system that you may have seen in the previous videos. And on the tape deck that's in here, some of the work that I've done included replacing the capacitors. This is on the little interface board on the actual tape deck itself. The important one is this 47 microfarad, I think it is. Yeah, 47 microfarad capacitor on this unit here. That capacitor was open circuit, so it wasn't providing any capacitance whatsoever. All of these other capacitors tested fine when I removed them, but I replaced them as a matter of course anyway. I also installed a new belt in this machine because I might use this tape deck for a little bit of testing. But what I'm thinking is possibly going wrong is that when the record button has been pressed down to do some saving, I'm wondering if the contacts for the record circuit have been jammed closed, and that might explain why when I'm playing with this key play here, that it could just be erasing or recording blank information. Well, I guess it could be the erase circuit, couldn't it, that would be enabled when you're recording or saving. So there could be just a contact issue there. The other thought I had is maybe that the on the interface board, that's the second board on the left here, we've got underneath, if you have a look in the previous videos, you'll see the layout of the boards. In fact, I might end up taking this case off anyway today to get to the tape deck here. You'll see there's two boards. The left one's the CPU board, the right hand one in the middle here is the interface board. There may be some capacitors or something like that that need replacing there, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'll go through a little demonstration here of what's actually happening so you can see it. I've got the system hooked up to a trusty old Commodore 1084S monitor there. So I'll just switch the machine on. Now you'll see here that the ready is prompted here. I'll remove this label here. I know that that's not working in the meantime. Now, a couple of wee quirks I noticed with the machine is that in this mode here, this is a little diversion here, but the ready prompt here, set to go, if I hit reset, I get ready 65535. Now, that's 64K, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not sure exactly how much memory this machine's got at this stage. I'll have another close look when I get the lid off. But anyway, that's one little thing I noticed. Now, also you have to hit new line to bring the machine into a ready state. So if you start from scratch again, and I think I explained this in the previous video, but if you type a command in here, straight off it comes up with an error. You have to new line it, and it comes to a prompt down here. So that's all set to go. So on the actual computer itself, we've got a volume control or a level control here for the tape recorder. This is the internal storage. So the way this works is, if I grab a blank cassette, this is rewound to the start of the cassette here, and if I try to say fast forward or play it just to get it through the leader, nothing happens. Now, that's because there's no command from the computer to say to power the drive up. That's all done internally, but you can override it, as I said before, with the F1 key there, and you'll see the cassette recorder light here comes on. So now I can fast forward, rewind, play, no worries at all. So I'm just going to get through the leader there just to make sure that we're into a good recording area, because the machine will it will record almost instantly, so you want to make sure that you've got tape showing in the window here and not trying to record onto the leader there. And we will turn the override off and put the machine into record mode, because the first thing I'm going to do is try and save a program. So play and record simultaneously. I'll switch the screen to 32 column mode just to make it a little bit easier to see on the screen. Okay, quick program, 10, let's say print Dick Smith. Okay, 20, go to 10, run. That's all good. Previous video you might have also seen that I was wondering about this artifacting here on the screen, which I can see as well. It's not an artifact to do with the synchronization between the camera and the screen. I can see that as well. I don't think it's a problem. I've seen it on other systems. So hit break there, and the command here is if we want to save this to tape. So we're on record, but it's paused because it hasn't had the signal from the computer. csave hash -1 comma, let's call it test. Right, and then you'll notice that the cassette will fire into life there. This light will come on and it's saving. Right, finish saving. But I know that nothing has happened. Also, you'll notice now no rewind because I need to override it. Rewind there. Sorry to cut in here like this, and yeah, change of scene as well. There's a couple of things that have gone on really. So when I was initially doing this video, the tape deck actually worked, which was, you know, contrary to what the state was when I was using it the night before, and I decided to do a video on this. The tape deck worked, but I had a few problems with syntax and loading syntax and things like that. I've had new camera arrive and new microphone and things like that, so I thought I'd just set up with the new setup here. And yeah, apologies for the glare on the screen here. There's not much I can do about that at this stage with trying to light the computer here and also have the screen handy there. This tape deck is working, kind of. I'll show you what's happening with it. The setup I've got here, I've retired this tape deck here, the external drive. What I'm using this for is just to listen to the recorded data, so because it's got a little speaker monitor on it, we'll be able to hear that. This little tape deck here is really handy. Oh, the other thing with this tape deck here is the remote option stopped working on it, so I've replaced it with this tape deck here, the little Sampo. That works well. The only thing with this is it doesn't give you any feedback as far as audio. It's got a speaker, but the only way to hear the speaker on playback is to remove the cables here. So I thought it's easier just to have this one here as an audio monitor. This cassette deck works fine externally here, and I'll be able to show you what's happening with this system at the moment. So I'll go ahead and turn the computer and the screen on. Just flip to 32 column mode there, and hopefully you'll be able to see that okay on the screen. I'm going to work on getting a direct feed of the output of the screen straight into a capture, so make this a little bit easier to see, but hopefully you can see that there. Now, what I didn't really explain to start with either is the reason I really want to get this tape deck up and running properly is because it's the internal tape deck, and you may think, well, why don't you just use the external one here? But the problem is that machine code programs and what they call, I think, system programs, they will only load from the internal drive. Now, there is a fix for that. There's a mod you can do to allow the external drive to load machine code and system programs. But I haven't done that mod at this stage. So that there is, I really want to try and sort of keep this fairly original, this computer as well. So I want to try and get this drive working best I can. So let's have a wee look at what's going on here. Just rewind the tape there. I'll just fast forward. Let's play it. Just get it through the leader there. What I might do also is just record blank, just some blank area on the start of this tape here. And we'll do a little program, so we'll just hit new line to get it into the ready state. Hopefully you can read that still. Okay, let's do a little program. Sorry for the slow typing. I'm typing around a tripod. It's a bit awkward. Okay, just a simple program. Break. And I've recorded a whole heap of blank. Just fast forward it through the leader there. I'll reset the counter, not that that's all going to get messed up anyway. Take it out of the override. So we're recording. Now the command to record is, I may have already gone through this, but anyway, I'll put it in again. csave hash -1, that's -1 for the internal drive, and then the name of the program. And if you did -2, that would be saving to the external drive. So let's go ahead. It stopped automatically there. Rewind. And then let's just new this and list, just so we know we've got nothing there. List, a little bit of keyboard bounce there. And let's play, and the command to load is cload hash -1 comma, and then the program name. Now part of the problem I had earlier with syntax was I assumed that you could do something like you can on like the Spectrum or the ZX81, where you could just go load open quote close quote like that, and it will just load in the next program on the tape there, the first one that it finds. If that doesn't work, okay, so I think to do that you would do this scenario here with no quotes. That will just load the first program on the tape that it finds. But anyway, we've named it anyway, so test there, and let's go ahead. Volume I think is about right. Let's see. Just got to come through the leader there. I think once we get round to 0, that's fairly much where we started there. Should be able to see, yeah, the needles come up. We might see, yeah. Let's have a look. We look here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So as you can see, it's working. Part of the problem I've been having, and this used to work, as far as I know, is to try and load it on the external cassette here. I knew this. And the interesting thing about this cassette drive, although the remote's plugged in, you'll see that it won't play and it won't record, but it will rewind and fast forward. So, you know, that's quite handy. It's kind of like, I guess they assume that you want to rewind and fast forward while you've got the remote cable plugged in there. So anyway, let's go play here. We'll go cload hash. You don't have to put spaces in, by the way. I'm just putting them in for readability. -2, that's the external drive. And we'll give it the name, test. Is it going to prove me wrong or not? Let's see. It isn't. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I had the override on. Funnily enough, the override doesn't work for the external drive. And then what have we got? There's data there. You can see the light. Oh yeah, it worked. Yeah, okay. So the problems, they seem to be sort of fixing themselves almost, or maybe they're intermittent. I'm not too sure exactly. But the major problem I had with this drive here was it appeared as though it was overwriting my tapes. Yeah, and it was getting to the point where initially you could see the level come up nicely, and it was saving and loading and things like that nicely, and then all of a sudden it just sort of stopped loading, and this needle wouldn't come up, and then I was checking tapes and whatnot, and I found that they were being wiped. Yeah, that's when I decided to stop and sort of do a video really on this little issue here. But things seem to be sort of coming right, whether it's capacitors and just timing, things like that, I don't know. But if we have a listen to this tape, it sounds okay, just a little bit sort of warbly. Yeah. A little bit wobbly maybe. I'll just record over this again because I'm going to compare that with this tape deck, the results we get from saving to this tape deck here. It might be a little bit cleaner. Let's try that. That into record. So I've got the command there for saving to the external tape. Okay, let's have a wee listen. Just to compare the two audio streams there for both of these recorders. Sounds a lot clearer. Less warbly, cleaner, clearer. Now, there is no way to adjust the right, the saving audio level as such to this. It's just put straight onto the tape. This adjustment here is really just for loading levels. So another problem I was having just when I was sort of going through this after I had those issues initially doing this video, I was saving to this drive here. I could do new and reload from this drive here, but I couldn't load from the external drive anything that had been recorded on this internal drive. And when I listened to it back through here, it was quite unclean, if you know what I mean. So whether it's the drive or not, I don't know. So that's the next thing I'll try, is to actually swap out the drive. And because I don't know whether it's anything to do with the possibly a capacitor here on the interface board, or whether it's the actual drive itself. I just don't know at this stage. So I kind of want to prove that this needs a little bit of a clean up. I'll go ahead and clean the heads and bits and pieces there. And then, so I guess if this one here works well, then, and it's reliable and consistent, I'll do a little bit more testing with this one first, just to make sure that it is failing as well. And I want to see it also possibly fail completely like it did the other night, if I can get it to do so. And then I'll do a little bit of testing with this to see whether it presents the same issues or not. And if this is reliable, then obviously there's a problem with the drive itself here. But if this one fails here, well, then maybe I've got a problem on the board. I'm not too sure at this stage. Yeah, I'll leave it at that at this stage. Thanks very much for watching, and please subscribe and leave any comments down below. Thanks very much.